In this video, we're going to implement like and unlike on the post. We're going to do this in a very generic way so that you can easily add other types of reactions in the future if you want so, like sad or love or laughing. Each post will be rendered with the number of likes as well as with the indicator if the current user has liked the post or not. Now let's commit everything and we are going to move forward. So we have first of all, I'm going to make two commits in this case. Okay, so we have published these PHP ini files and the Docker files and everything related to custom build version. So those are unversioned files, and also Docker Compose YML was modified. So I'm just going to commit this file as well. And let's give this message like publish sale or I just call sale publish and customize PHP ini file. Okay, this is one commit message. Okay, and then we have two more files changed, and to give a proper name will be add a global size validation on all the attachments. Add global size validation on all attachments. We're going to commit this as well. Now I'm going to close everything and we're going to move forward. And the next part, what I'm going to do, let's open the front-end side. The next part I'm going to do is implementing the reactions on the posts. I'm going to make text type post, text post, because I want to see this like and comment buttons immediately right here without scrolling basically. And we're going to start implementing like functionality. On the database level, we implemented the reactions in a way that you can easily implement other type of reactions in the future. But right now I'm just going to do like. Okay. However, let's speak a little bit how we're going to do this. We can implement the form and send the generic submit right here on this form, which will I'm not probably very clear, so I'm going to try to explain it in a better wordings. Right now, when we create a post, okay, I create the post, I'm going to hit on submit. There are two requests. The first is to just make the post, and second, and the post basically returns with the redirect. And then we have this localhost, which comes with a preview, okay? And then here we have the whole content. So the whole page content. We see this auth, which is the global variable, attachment extensions, this is also global variable. We have posts, and we have entire list of posts here, and we have some meta information as well and links as well. Okay, and every time I create a post, I get the whole list of posts from the backend. Look at this. Okay, this is how it is working at the moment. And in the future, if I implement the load more functionality, so that when we scroll down below, it loads more posts, and instead of 20, I have on this page 100 posts loaded, and I am changing or creating new post. This will return posts from scratch, so it will probably lose the data for me. This is something we can take here in the future, but this is how inertia works. You make a request, and from the backend, it gives you the redirect type of response. Okay, but the difference between the traditional server-side rendered Laravel application and this is that this does on the client side. But again, the whole page is rendered on the client side. So what we need to do in this specific case, that we're going to just send the like request, and from the server, we should not see this localhost, and we should not be redirected and re-render the entire page. but instead we should see just a response. If I expand this, probably I can explain this in a better way. If I expand this, okay, and then I create new post, because it re-renders this local host, probably this will get collapsed. Let me test this. So test 1, hit and submit. No, it didn't get collapsed because it probably analyzes what is already changed on the DOM. So this is actually done very intelligently. And we have also this preserve scroll, that if I'm updating this scroll is preserved, but still the whole post's data is returned in this case, which is not ideal. And the whole post data is returned because we are doing redirect. Let's search for update. From update, when everything is done, we call go back, and go back means re-render this local host, and this is how it is done. So in this case, just to make the post request, I'm going to introduce either we're going to make the request with either Fetch API, or I'm going to introduce Axios. Okay, so let's start with the Axios because it is more solid decision rather than using Fetch. Fetch is also fine if you want to just stick with the Fetch and you're comfortable, you can use the Fetch API. Not an issue at all, but I'm going to go with the Axios. And we're going to basically install the Axios through npm. So I'm going to stop my Vite server and execute npm install -s Axios. Okay, that was already installed. I'm going to start the server again. Then I'm going to go into resources in JS, and I'm going to create a new JavaScript file called Axios.js. Okay, then I'm going to create the Axios client, and for this I'm going to have a look in the documentation just to save some time. Let's actually search for Axios with interceptors. I want an example of that. Okay, so this is an example of Axios we're going to create, and we're going to have request interceptors. Okay, we are going to import Axios. So import Axios from Axios. Then we have this Axios, and then we're going to call this request use. And this is an interceptor, and we're going to return something from this interceptor. We are accepting right here. Let's copy this part. This is more, it has more information. Let's collapse the left side. So we get the config. We can do something when the before the request is sent, and this is different thing. So we can just leave it as it is, or we can completely remove that. What I want to do is just a send CSRF token when request is made, because we're going to have this error, and I'm just going to write a to do here, but we're going to see that we will have an error here. So we have this instance, and on the instance, I think we're going to do this on the instance interceptors. We are going to add the following one, and then I'm going to export default instance. Okay, or let me actually export default. I can do a named export and call this Axios client, but let's actually call this Axios client in camel case. Now let's open post item, and I'm going to try to make a request. This is a post item, and at the bottom we have this thumbs up icon. Okay, so we're going to listen to click of the button, and we're going to do send reaction. Let's call this send reaction. Let's move up, and I'm going to define this function send reaction, and we're gonna use now Axios client for this. So Axios client dot post, we're gonna make post request to like or to add some reaction, and the URL in my case, actually let's define the route. I'm gonna open web PHP and let's duplicate this. We're gonna make post request, and the URL will be post reaction. We need to also specify what reaction that's going to be, so we can put this in the payload reaction of type of reaction, and we're going to provide the post variable here as well. So we are actually doing let's do it like this. So post, the actual post ID, and reaction. Okay, and the route name is going to be post reaction, and the function, the action, will be post reaction. Now let's create this function, public function post reaction. We're going to accept post here. Okay, we are accepting the post here, and we are going to also accept the reaction, what's going to be the actual reaction. So let's accept request here, and then I'm going to do request, validate, etc., etc., but let's just write the entire request all at the moment. Okay, the route name is post reaction, so let's go in the post item and let's use the route function. That's going to be post dot reaction, and we're going to provide the post. We are in the post item, so we can directly send props dot post here. We are sending post request, and at the moment we only support like, so reaction is like. Is this imported? No, it is not. So let's just import Axios client from Axios client. This is how we are gonna do that. Okay, whenever we click on the button, it should send the post request. Now, let's have a look. It was reloaded. We are in the XHR tab, and I'm going to click on like. Okay. As you can see, we don't have this CSRF issue. I'm actually surprised why. Because the CSRF token is actually sent through inertia. Awesome. If we don't have that issue, no problem, then we can focus on the main thing to validate that, and we're going to have one of the available reactions. Okay, and I'm going to create enum for this in the app http. Let me create here enums folder, and inside there I'm going to create PHP class, call this post reactions, and the namespace is enums, and actual template is enum. Click OK, click add. We have this enum, and I need to remember PHP enums because I haven't used that for a long time. We have cases, and we have called named, or how we have that, how we call that. This is clear. Okay, we can just use case like, but I want to associate some value as well, like this. And I think we need to specify that this is named enum, or something like this. I need to remember this. The proper wording. So we have this. The enums can have methods. Baked enums. Yeah, this is it. Baked enums. Okay, so this is how we can have this baked enum. So I just wanted to remember the name. So in our case, we can have this like. We can make this uppercase. It's more like a constant. So we can have like, and we can have like said, or etc. etc. So anyway, we can have only like even in this case because we're going to improve this. You can improve this. I'm not going to do this. At least I don't plan to do other type of reactions right now. I'm going to only have like. And in the database, basically in the post reactions, we have the post ID and type. This is the reaction type. And then we have the user ID who did this reaction. Okay. Then I will go in the post controller and I'm going to validate the reaction. So that's going to be request validate okay, let's change this type because on the database we call this type and we are sending post requests on the reaction endpoint. So what's going to be the type of the reaction? No, reaction is more logical to me. So let's send this as a reaction. In the post controller, we're going to define that the reaction needs to have the following rule. Enum. I'm going to search now enum rules in the validation. We have this rule enum, and we're going to provide which class is used for the enum. Actually, it is not class, which enum is used. So let's import eliminate validation rule enum, and this is going to be post reactions. Should it be plural or singular? Server status. It should be singular. So let's actually rename this. Post reaction, and I'm going to suffix with enum as well because this is more logical to me. Post reaction enum. Post reaction enum. Okay, awesome. Then if the validation is actually passed, we're going to get this data here. And then we're going to save this in the database. So I'm going to do post reaction create, and I'm going to pass the post ID. This is going to be post ID. We're going to pass user ID. This is going to be my user ID. Let's actually grab this user. Request user. It's going to be user ID, or we can even call auth ID. We don't need this user variable. And we're going to have type, which is going to be data reaction. And what else do we need? Post ID, type, and user. This created that needs to be set automatically. Let's open this post reaction model, and I'm going to configure this fillable. We're going to have post ID, user ID, and reaction or type. This is how it calls in the database. And I'm going to also provide updated we have this created it and updated it. Const updated it equals false or null. It should be null. Now, using this way, the post reaction is created, and we're going to return something. I'm going to return JSON from here. Is JSON. It should be something like this. Return response. Actually, we can return response like this. It's going to be a success, so we are telling that the response has been successful. And what I want to do is to return the total number of reactions on the post, because we're going to update the that section right here, and we're going to display how many reactions are there, right? Now reactions. Let's just call this reactions, and I'm going to return the formatted value like 1.3k. I want to return something like this. Okay, let's test this. I'm going to hit on like, and we see the payload reaction like, and we see the preview success true reactions. Let's check the database, post reactions, and we see record right here. So that user on that post made a like type of reaction, and this is good. If you're watching this, learning, and if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please pause the video right now, hit the subscribe button, and continue watching. So this is the best thing what you can do right now for me to support my work. Now let's implement this number, reactions number. So what we're going to do is just get post reaction where post ID is the post ID, and I'm going to call count on this to get total number of reactions. Okay, reactions, and we're going to return these reactions from here. This reaction, the just created reaction, is not necessary, so I'm going to remove that variable assignment part. But now if I click on like, what happens? We see reactions equals 2. Now we have 2 reactions totally on this post. The same user did this reaction, which is not good, which is not something we should allow. So probably before submitting and saving this reaction, we should check if the current user has already made a reaction on this post. So I'm going to extract this in a variable called user ID. Let's do a camel case notation, user ID. And then let's query reaction if that reaction exists. Okay, that's going to be post reaction where let's provide user ID corresponds to user ID, and another where post ID is post ID, and I'm going to call first. So if that reaction exists, okay, then we are going to delete this reaction, remove this reaction. Else we're going to create the reaction. So we have this else already made. So now let's do delete. So reaction delete, which will completely delete this reaction. Okay, and then when we select the total number of reactions, we're going to have 1 less. Now there are totally 2 reactions on the same user, so when we click on this button right now, it's going to select the first one and delete that. So click on like. Now we got 1. If I reload the database, there is only 1 now. And if I click like on this, we're going to return 0. I reload this and this is gone as well. However, if I click like on this, we see that now there's 1 and new record is made on the database. If I click like on this, we see 0 and this is deleted. Okay, so this is cool. This is awesome. We have now this, this is implemented properly. However, we are gonna, this is gone. So let's actually add reaction. There's one reaction. However, when I reload the page, I want to see how many reactions are on this post. And I also want to see whether I have already made the reaction on this post or not. Okay, so how to solve this problem? Let's go in the post.php, and from the post, I'm gonna add relation to the post reactions. Actually, I'm interested to get the count, okay, only count. Let me ask ChatGPT, because I have done something similar in the past. I just don't remember how I have done this. Or actually, I do remember. I have done this in one of my projects. This is, I think, the Laravel Vue e-commerce project in which I have done this. So if I go in the app, HTTP, not HTTP, but inside app models, we have this order, and the order has items inside there. Okay, and there is this items relation defined. In the same way, we need to define reactions. Let's return this has many post reaction. Okay, and let's return has many, okay, reactions. What's the issue with that? Unused element reactions. Okay, no problem. So we don't use this yet. However, because we have that defined like reactions, we can use these reactions count somewhere. And I think we are using this in the resource. So if I go in the app, HTTP resources, and search for the order resource, we have these items, and I expected, no, we need to check order list resource, because in the order list in my e-commerce project, we are returning the number of items, and this is how we are doing this. Okay, so basically we need this items count, which returns just the count. So in our case, we need reactions count. So if I open now post resource, we are going to return reactions, okay, and or let's call this num of reactions, and that's gonna be this reactions underscore count. This is how it is. Num of semicolon is not necessary here. Num of reactions. Now if I reload this page and have a look what is here, we don't see anything here. Anyway, let's open post item and find this like button here, and I'm going to display post num of reactions. Okay, number of reactions. I don't see that. Let's just print the entire post. Num of reactions, it is null. Why is it null? Okay, if we just return from the post resource, if we just return reactions, what is it going to be? We see that there's a reaction, but num of reactions, which is a reactions count, is actually null. So probably I'm not doing it very correctly. Items count. Probably we need to prefetch that as well. In app HTTP controllers, we have this order controller, and this is what we need with count. So basically when we select the posts in the post controller, in the index, this is store. Actually, it is home controller. So we need to call with count. And that's going to be reactions, with count of reactions. This is what we need. So I'm going to save this, reload the page, and we see num of reactions. This is called 0. Why is this 0? Everything is 0. We have one post. However, this is the post 46. Okay, what am I doing wrong? So the post has many reactions. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT because I'm missing something probably. So I have posts in my project and post reactions. I want to select posts with their number of reactions. Okay, we can obviously do this. We can obviously do this with join into reactions and just get the and call the group by, which will give us the total posts in as a single select, which probably makes sense. But let's figure out how we can use. I want to use with count method for this. Let's just give it some hint how I want to do that. Reactions count. Reactions count in the post resource. I'm accessing this reactions count, but it is actually 0. With count reactions in the post controller. No, it should be in the home controller. What if I call just with count reactions method with count not found in app models post. I want to save this and try this. Now we see this num of reactions, but if I change this, and we see this 1, which is correct, but if I change this query and then with count, that also works right now, but why it didn't work before? If I undo this, I had it like this, I swear, because I clicked the button probably. Yeah, I clicked somewhere here which made the request and removed that number, that removed that reaction. Now we see this 0. I click on this, it makes the reaction. Okay, let's go in the post item, and I'm going to output num of reactions. And we see 1 like here. What I need to do, Facebook post, not size, Facebook post image. I'm curious where is the like? Okay, it is in a different position. Okay, it is at the top. A number of comments is at the top as well. How are we going to do this? I can put this right here, or we can create separate section at the top. Actually, I'm going to put this inside here. So maybe I'm going to put this in the parentheses. How many reactions are there? There's only one. Or I can put this before the icon. In this case, I think the parentheses is not necessary. We have different variations, like if I remove this margin right, I can put this here. And then I can put this in this pan and give this margin right 2. Let's do like this. If I already liked that post, I want also to see that I have made a like on this post. Okay, and if I click, I will make a dislike. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT this part as well. Okay, I want to also see if the current user made like on the post or not. Let's see what it suggests. With a count of reactions and with the likes as well. However, inside with likes, we need to filter and get for the current user. Okay, and this is how we need to do this. And we're going to have these reactions okay, I'm thinking right now that this is not quite accurate. So I mentioned like, but I will change my wording. I want to also see if the current user made a reaction on the post or not. So I need total number of reactions on the post and Boolean flag current user made reaction or not. So with count, we have this. And with method to load the user's reactions for each post. Additionally, you can use the addSelect method to include a Boolean flag indicating whether the currently authenticated user has made a reaction on each post. Here's an example. Here we see that with reactions, but for the current user, I think this is how I'm gonna do it. And this is also another approach which I'm not going to do it. So I need this part. Whenever we are selecting the posts, we have this with count, and I'm going to apply this with reactions. However, I need to check the current user actually must be authenticated in order to be able to see the home page, right? So we are going to have this user ID and it's going to be auth ID. Then we get the reactions for the current user. And if I go in the post resource, I'm going to do like this has reaction. So that's going to be that means that if the current user has reaction, this is going to be true. So these reactions will be collection, right? So we're going to do if this reactions size, if that exists, if that size is more than 0, then it has reaction. If it's less than 0, it doesn't have reaction. So if I go now in the post item and I'm going to print entire post again, we are going to see in the post resource we see this has reaction. If I reload it, okay, collection size or collection count, how it is. Collection count. We see has reaction true. Here we see has reaction false. So if I click on this right now, this has reaction true, and if I reload this on the first post, I see that this has reaction turned into false. So this is actually correct. We are doing it correctly. I'm just gonna remove that, and I'm just gonna change the icon. Okay, there are 0 reactions right now. I click on like, it should turn into 1. This is what I'm gonna do. And if I reload right now, it is actually 1, but I'm gonna also show this probably blue, or I can change this text as well. So if post has reaction, if current user has reaction, I'm going to write unlike, okay, and then otherwise we're going to just write like, and also maybe we can change this background instead of BG gray 100. Probably we should change this into sky type of color. So let's apply class binding. If let's change this into an array. If post has reaction, okay, from the current user, then the naming this has reaction is not very descriptive. It means that if generally the post has at least 1 reaction. So probably we should call this in the post resource current user has reaction. Let's call this very descriptive name. Then if we go in the post item, if the current user has reaction, unlike, otherwise like, if the current user has reaction, then we're going to have BG sky 100, and on hover we're going to have a BG sky 200. Otherwise we are going to have, let's put this on its own line. Otherwise we're going to have BG gray, let's actually cut this part, BG gray 100, and on hover we're going to have BG gray 200. Let's move this on the new line again. Okay, now let's see. I reload the page and I see that I have liked this. So I click unlike and it's going to change it. So let's scroll up. This is the place we need to take care of. Inside then we get some sort of response. Okay, and let's print what is this response. Now let's check this in the browser's console. I'm going to hit unlike. We see the data, success true, and reactions. Okay, cool. We're going to actually get the data because this is the entire response. So this res is the entire response. Let's call this response. Okay, but we're going to destructure this. Let's put parentheses around. Then I'm going to destructure and take out data. And what else we can take out? Yeah, nothing. So we just take the data and we need to check if this access is true. Well, if this access is actually not true, we can throw some exception from the backend server, the controller, from the post controller. Let's scroll down below. And so I think this is extra, to be honest. So we are returning just a successful response, so we can remove this. However, in terms of reactions, we're going to also return if I have reaction right now on this post. Okay, so if the reactions exists, we are deleting that, else we are creating. So if we are creating, we're gonna assign has reaction equals true. If we are deleting, we're gonna have has reaction equals false. And then what's the name in the resource? We call this current user has reaction. So let's return this current user has reaction corresponds to has reaction. And also this num of reactions, let's return this correctly. Okay, so we are returning num of reactions and if the current user has reaction. So I'm going to save this and let's reload the page. We see there are 0 likes on this post. I'm going to click on this and there's some error. Res is not defined. Okay. Let's open this post item. We have this data and inside the data, we have this current user has reaction and num of reaction. So what I'm going to do is just I cannot directly change the prop post, right? So I cannot do like props post equals something, but I can update the properties of the post. So I can do current user has reaction equals data current user has reaction and props post num of reactions equals data num of reactions. Okay, this is awesome. So we save this. And now let's have a look. So we have this liked. I'm gonna hit on this and you see that was changed. Okay, I'm gonna hit on this and it got changed back. So now we have this like unlike functionality already implemented. Okay, so I'm gonna just scroll down below and like a couple of things. Okay, then I reload the page and I'm going to see everything. So this is liked, this is liked, this is liked by me, and so on. So I think that's all about like these reactions. This is very large in terms of the width. Let's remove this. So we have implemented a like and unlike functionality at the moment. So in the future, if you decide to implement other reactions, like Facebook has, for example, you can long click on this button and then it will give you these other reactions like the love and react or something like this. And then just the main difference will be that instead of reaction like, you're going to send love, for example, or dislike or said or whatever you're gonna need. But right now we have only like functionality and like type of reaction, and we're just sending like or dislike. Also, if you implement other reactions in the future, when we get the reactions from the post, we get all the reactions, all available reactions. Like we might have a couple of dislikes or a couple of said reactions on the post, but these reactions just joins to all of them. Okay, you cannot have multiple reactions on the same post. You're going to have either like or said on the post. So you should also keep in mind that maybe in the future, if you decide that you only want like type of reactions to be counted right here on this like button, you're going to add this filter where reaction or where type equals like, something like this. Okay, but I think this is pretty decent right now.